pin, you goober. There you go. Welcome, welcome, babies. Welcome to the Strain the Dreams project. Dun, 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 dun. I don't think I need that open. And pull us out of purgatory. Is everything connected? Yes. Yes. Happy Purrsday, babies. Happy Purrsday to you. Don't tell me what to do, phone. Reminders. I still haven't changed them back 30 minutes. How simple is that to do? No early reminder. Done. No early reminder. Done. It was way easier to fix than I imagined. You know how it's easier to be triggered by one notification instead of reminded by a pre-notification and getting a notification. What did I move? But it is. Alright, Club Cult, we're gonna bop in to see Little Miss Void. We're gonna have some time with Peewee, and we're gonna set up a few things for her room, I think. Kind of torn at how I want to set everything up between her and Miss Void. But it's probably worth to attempt whatever I'm trying to attempt anyway. Short tripod life. I miss the old tripod for as much as I complained about the lights falling off of it. You don't know what you got until it's gone. Proof is in the pudding. Aw, Zeke, you're so cute. You sprout out in the blankie. Gunther's not being a bad boy, he's just being a bed boy today. He's very cute. Not used to my OBS being over here. We're gonna lose audio for a quick sec. And that should be back. Or floppy tonight. Oh, the dirty fingerprints. That's what I'm looking for. This goofy thing. It was like an aggressive chord drop. It was aggressive. Why does Restream get off when logging out on my phone? Why? Why? It's like every other stream. I would think it would keep me logged in for like at least 30 days. Most things do. Can't see behind us to taint test. Oh, I'm so happy I finally have a thing posting a touchdown. Go Batrix. Go Batrix. I don't know what I did to offend Nightbot, but Nightbot is horribly offended by me. Tank tests are good. Right, we'll leave Zeke in charge for a moment. Go to pee. Then we'll bop in with the babies. Void is Big Baby. Kind of Big Baby, but she's really cute. She's really cute. Hey, boy, I didn't realize you were on the table too. You're incognito. Boop. Little goose. You're so cute and silly. You're so cute and silly. Do 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 do. Open these up to print them out later. Do 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 do. Bless you. That was a sneeze. That was the most slight sneeze of sneezes that was ever schnoozed. Goodness golly. Oh, we're gonna bring cool with us. Clodunk startles me. I'm gonna put the coffee in Peeb's room now. Little baby PB. Gate. You need to close. We're in disagreements today. Let's put this in here. Grab tape. Thought about that as I walked right back in the room. And then I left it. It's out of sight, out of mind. Oh, and I left the music on. Here, let me set the camera in with Void. It's silly to walk back and forth. Hi, lady. Hi, lady. Meow. Big words. Big words. Share with the class. Hold on, sis. Hold on, hold on. I'll be right back. Wait, we're gonna take a break on that until after Chauncey has surgery, okay? She did have a little bit of out time yesterday. It was very cute and sweet. She wasn't really inclined for it, but today she's in the mood for it. But I think we're gonna hold off on that until Chauncey has his surgeries, because he likes the bedroom. Yes. In a perfect world, we would do this a bit different. You're letting me hold you. I'm so proud. He's not the happiest about it. But he's a good girl. Hi, lady. You're gonna be just a little bit patient for Mr. Chauncey, okay? Yes. Yes. Okay. I know, you hate me. But you know, but you're still not used to being picked up, held, etc. 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 Oh, you're so playful this evening. You had 2 wands, I think. Did we give one? No, because my dad can buy his own toys. Still have one here. Yeah. Do you care? Do you care? Come here, lady. Yes, no? You just want love right now. That's what you want. You grabbed at my ankles. I thought that meant playtime. But it just meant to love me, Mama. That is all. And I do love you. I do love you. You're such a good girl. Switching over to non-kitten food. You're officially off baby food. You don't need all the extra crazy calories anymore. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Don't knock that over, baby. Don't knock that over. Here, read us this. Tighten her back up. Oh no, this tripod is breaking too. I have, I think the worst luck with tripods. If there was a contest for who gets the most broken, scuffed ass tripods, I think I win. I think I win. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Aw. She showed zero interest in PB when they met yesterday too. But PB also isn't tiny baby in need of a mama. I feel like if she was younger, Void probably would have adopted her. I really feel like PB is older than 8 weeks though. She was the right size for being 5 weeks when I rescued her, but good girl. Her eyes also weren't bluish, they were totally green. Which I don't think they fully change until 7 or 8 weeks. So she could be older than we think. I really feel like she's dwarfy. I hope I'm wrong, because there's health issues that come with that. But I really think she's kind of dwarfy. You, though, you're tall, you're normal, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. Your little feral twin, Gigi, went and got her cone off today, and her stitches out. So she's not feeling like a satellite dish anymore. And that's good. You're so sweet. Little lover girl. You're so sweet. You're so sweet and petite. You're adorable. You have such a rumbly motor. Oh my goodness. You're just a happy lady. You are. Oh, we're melting. We're melting. Hershey's chocolate melt. Boy, do you need like pasties or something? You're exposing yourself. You're exposing yourself. You gotta do your nails soon too, lady. They're getting kind of long. Will you let me? I think the tiny clippers should be here. If they're in here. They should be though. I did Dave's nails before she went home. I put them somewhere that they wouldn't jump on them. What would they be in here? Not that far back. The tiny scissors. There's the cookies. Can we try it, Boyd? Can we? I don't know if you'll let me do lap style. If you're laying down, you might just let me touch your toes. Slavka, you can do her nails like a horse. Just have to pick her up for it. Tank got his nails done the other day, but he had to have a happy pill for it. I think next time we'll try half a happy pill and the lick mat. Ow. You want to really pulley again? And try to do your pausers. Happy girl. Yeah, see, I think you'll bolt if I pull you up into my arms. I think you will. I don't want to traumatize you. I feel like the key to success with Void is just meeting her where she's at, which is true with most cats, but absolutely with her. And true with most animals, but very true with her. She's not flexible on the rules for it, like some others are. You can nibble my fingers. You're so silly. You are such a joy. Joy to the void. She is the best. She mommed all the rest. You had 3 beautiful babies. I am so proud of you. And now you get to live the happy house life for you, where you don't have anyone bothering you. That's what all women want, right? It's like, yes. Yes, that is the move. That is the move of the groove. No free butts, girlfriend. No free butts. I always forget how long your whiskers are because they blend in. Oh, I wonder if Nibbler still has 2 white whiskers. Hey, sweetness. Oh, there's a melt. There's a melt. Can we try to see those toesers? Oh, good job. Oh, good job. Probably we could get a little shorter. If you let me. It's okay, I'm just turning towards you. Is she doing this one? I'm working on paw touches. You can do it. I'm not going to force you, but we can try. So far, she's just annoyed. That's okay. You can be annoyed with me. Do you have a nail there? Oh, yeah, you do. You want to do it this way? You got a thumbnail. You got a thumb, baby girl. Oh, it's not long at all. Hey, there's one more paw. What you think? You gonna try it real quick? That one's not long. You're over it. Let's do a few minutes of love. I know, those evil nail clippers. Those evil nail clippers. It's been such a new experience with all of the street kitties to do their nails almost like doggy style. I'm so used to just with the house cats flooping them up in my lap. But you don't like that. That is not your happy place. No. And Slavka doesn't like that. And Charlie doesn't like that. And Gander doesn't like that. And Hank doesn't like that. Zeke's nails. I don't know which way Zeke will tolerate it. There's another Zeke that I finally met. There's one other Zeke at... I'm gonna knock that over, girl. My vet's office. And they came in today. And it's a Pomeranian. Very, like, pippy colored. Like, buff. Pomeranian. It was very cute. Like, what are the odds, though? There's one other Zeke. And I met him today. That's so neat. Are you gonna take the clippers and run away with them? She stole them off of my lap. Those are metal. Doesn't that feel not good to eat? Asking for a friend, I guess. Girl, what was the thought process there? You stole them. Say, I'll do my nails myself. Fancy lady. Fancy lady. What? What you think? What you think? Where are you going around to, lady? Do some tricks. Good job. Boop boop. Good girl. Through here? Good job. Boop boop. Boop boop. Boop boop. I should be doing this with the treat in my hand, but I didn't expect her to roll with it. Boop boop. Boop boop. Good girl. Void is very smart. Let me get a treat for you, lady. You're very smart. Yes, you are. Hey, if you make a mess with this, it's gonna fall on my leg and it's gonna be gross. Don't go over with it. Where are you going? Good job. I'm surprised she did that. We were practicing with treats. Here you go. And over. Boop, boop. Good girl. Okay, relax. Take a break. Drop it on the floor. Clean it off the floor. There's no more on the floor. Sorry. One more. If you want to. Good job. Oh, we got distracted by Clippies. Void Rooney. Good job. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Good job. You gonna hold it? Good girl. If you were braver, you could be a Cirque du Soleil kitty, but you're a scaredy cat. You're a scaredy cat. But you're so smart. Do one more? Come on through. Good job. Treat break. Over here. Good job. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Your nails are so sharp on one hand and so short on the other, Void. Goodness golly. Goodness golly. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze up the rest for you. Free treats. You don't have to work for the rest of these. You don't have to. Yummy. Did you drop? Oh no, you got it. You always end up with a little Temptations mustache. You are so sweet. So. Yummy. One last boop boop for fun. Boop boop. Boop boop. You're not ready to do things out of the sequence. That's okay. I'm so proud that you did without treats. You're a very good girl. Alright, let's toss this in the garbage. And then we'll do your food and walk. Here, put the top of the wrapper for that. There. Then we'll boop stuff up together with Miss Peebs. Little baby Peebie. Little baby baby. What we do is star the show. Phoebe's right at the door to the tent. Like, you're coming in here right now, right? It's roughly-ish. We're getting there. We're getting there. We did one pot of nails. Would you maybe let me do one more? You're not all lollygagging out over it. Gonna try. Try. 1, 2, good girl. 3, almost, good girl. There's 4. Just do one more 5. No, one more 5 is for later. Okay. That was very good. I also think I kind of surprised you with that, and that's the only reason you went with it. Got a fluke on your butt, girlfriend. How'd that happen? How'd that happen? You're silly. That's how that happened. Alright, let's get your stuff mixed up. You didn't shake your kibbles earlier? Switching your leftover to adult food post kitten now. Aw, Void, give hugs. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. It is a choose your own adventure, and thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. Hanging out with Miss Void, so fancy. Fancy schmancy. Alright, let's mix up your old bowl and these two. Aw, Void. It's the end of an era. Or are we gonna lose this shit hearing this? There we go. We'll mix more regular food in every couple of few days. Slow and steady. And get you switched over in like about a week or so. Perfect. Right away, because I really feel like you want to eat this dough. I don't trust that. No, I don't trust that. You're very cute, but you're secretly baby inside, even though you're like 2, 3, somewhere around there. You're secretly baby. Secretly baby. Aw. Alright, we're gonna bop in with little baby PB. Miss Lady Mim, you're a good girl. Yes, you is. Yes, you is. We love you, Void. We love you. Good little Mamoo. Miss PB, you're so cute. Oh. Get some light going on. This little biscuit. Little biscuit of ridiculousness. You can take men's and then we'll take the baby out to play. She ate the pumpkin on her own earlier without me having to give it to her in a syringe, which was awesome. So hopefully that'll happen again. That would be great. Oh my goodness. What? Charlie, baby. Did you get triggered by the fact that you get triggered? She's a beautiful little lady. Boy, just back to watching her bird TV. Just mom things. Miss PB. PB and Jelly. The cutest little biscuit bean that ever was. I propped this in here the other day. About like that. It's fine for a sec. You gotta get to your pumpkin. Get the PB pumpkin. PB pumpkin. Oh, she is ready and raring to go. Hello, lady. How are you doing tonight? How are you doing tonight, you little flufferoni rooski? So, I do believe you're going to be adopted by my vet tech, which is very exciting. But she says we gotta get you used to being brushed. because you're going to have thick hair. And we don't want you to mat. Oh, do you like that? I think she does. Come here, sissy. Come on. She doesn't hate it, but I think she doesn't understand it. Here, let's get some drawstring. Drawstring is good. Oh, you're fine with that. You tolerate it? What about your bellies? What if you gotta brush your bellies? See, oh, that's a little much, but that's a little much for any kitty. Good job, sweetness. You know how to be brushed? I'm doing smoked cheese. She's so adorable. How do you say no to this face? She's so cute. You're so round. I still can't think of the Fantastic Beast character that she reminds me of, what the name of it is. But it's a little puffle thing. It's been on the tip of my tongue for like weeks. Good job, lady ma'am. Big proud. Make me a proud foster mama. Here, that's part of why we have to optimize our space. We don't have enough space over here. Actually, you can just do this. Now you guys are in the kennel. Haha. Ah ha 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 ha. Take care of your little boxy boo. And then we'll fill up your was and your foods. You're gonna try some pumpkin? Like on your own? Like a big girl? You ate it earlier. You did really good with it. You gonna try some more again? I think you can do it. I feel so bad. I ended up taking her back to Doc's the day after her shots, so Wednesday. And she had a little fever. She did have a reaction to the vaccine. It wasn't just knocking her out hard. So she wasn't mad at me. You guys were wrong. She was having a reaction to the vaccine. Which, like, isn't an emergency, but necessary to be monitored. Just because she had a reaction to this one, though, doesn't mean that she'll have a reaction to the next one. Which is good. Hopefully not. She's just a little baby. It's just a tiny bean. You are eating the pumpkins. Oh, that's a good girl. That's a very good job. It's a very good job. Bravo, sissy. Bravo, sissy. You probably just ate about a pound. And I think that's pretty darn good. Bravo. Little fluffy butt. You saying hi, or you're gonna knock everyone over? A boop. A boop boop. Silly little skadoop. Silly little skadoop. You don't play with the brush. You gotta write in your log that you had your pumpkin. Yes, yes. She had gone down 20 grams yesterday with the fever, but today she's back up by like 50 grams. She ate really good. You're really liking the concept of the brush. That's wonderful. His brush toy. His brush toy. Is it toy? I think so, maybe. I think so, maybe. Oh my goodness. Come here, teeny beanie. Boop, 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 boop. Activate button. There you go. You gotta learn how to get brushed. You gotta socialize with the puppies. You gotta be a well-rounded Kimton. And be a tripod taker downer, because, yeah, tripods are evil. They're evil. They're evil. And so are feet, apparently. Cursed creatures. Must attack. You're so tiny and silly. Who made you so tiny and silly, huh? Yeah, you get that tripod. Oh, don't knock my phone into the water bowl, please. Pretty please. Pretty please. Hello, tiny biscuit. Aww. Need some belly rubs? But it's gonna turn into playtime. Belly rubs, chin rubs, cheeky rubs, nibbly nubs. Oh, baby girl. You're so sweet. Your eyes are so green. They're so green. And you have the most perfect little baby tiger stripes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Oh, we found drawstring. We found drawstring. Drawstring is epic need. Boop, boop, boop. We need encouragement pets. And then we can get the drawstring. You are such a silly boop. Oh, you're so rough and tough. You're so rough and tough. Get it. Get it. You ditched it. There you go. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back. Need some bellies. Need some bellies. I really shouldn't let you chew on me like that, but I'll let you do it for one more day, and then we'll work on it tomorrow. Because it's really cute. I know it's a bad habit, but it's really cute. Tiny little kitten teeth. You gotta do your nails again soon. It's been like a month. They're getting long. You gotta work on that too. Oh man. Probably not during playtime, but we gotta start playing with paws more. You just knocked your camera over. What you doing? What you doing? He sniffs. Oh my goodness, what's that? Oh my goodness, what's that? She just wants one, she can't get more. I'm trying to run away with it. How's that gonna work? How's that gonna work? I don't know if that's gonna work. You splooted. Hey there, belly. Hey there, belly. Oh, you got it. You got it. You're so tough. You're so tough. You're so tough. Rough and tough and tumble. Get it. Get it. You can do it. You can do it. Kind of. There we go. It would not unmute for me. Holding on by one tiny little nail. There you go. What is on your face? You get dirty as you have food on you or something. What is that? Food. Pumpkin. Get it. Get it. We gotta tire you out. We gotta work on a project. You get all your kitten la-las out. Little baby bean. Little baby peeps. He's such a good girl. No wild lady. Did you get it? Did you get it? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You can do it. Be the apex predator you were born to be, PB. You can do it. I can watch you do this for hours. You are so cute and silly and sweet. You're so cute and silly and sweet. Where are you going? You hiding out? Where, peebs? Oh, string. 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 The happy lady. You getting zazzy? It's garbage. Darling. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. I love how she just pushes her snoot. You're so sweet and loving. Now you're being rambunctious. Rambunctious. You're in 6th gear. Big motor, all those kitty RPMs are up. Oh! You walked on the camera and you took it down, you took yourself down with it, Goofy. Goofy. Goofy goober. Alright, a couple more rounds of tetherball, and then we gotta start DIYing your stuff. So it'll definitely be like a temporary method, but I think it'll work pretty decently. I think so. What do you think, Peebs? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, lady. Fair. Oop. You are so fluffy. How do you have so much floof for being such a tiny little kitten? Are you going to be floofy forever? I wonder. I wonder. Are you hungries now? Hungries and firsties? Oh, more tetherball. Okay. One more. I can't say no. You're cute. I can't say no. You're cute. You are just so happy. You are so, so happy. Are you gonna get some hot drink in a minute, sis? Finish your little chew storm here. And then we build the things. And then we build the things. Get it. Plug it up. Plug it up. Plug it up. Oh, I don't think I've made that sound at you yet. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Is that a weird one? Oh, your pupils are getting huge. Like dilating right in front of my eyes. What's that sound? Sound of our thought bubbles popping. Just like having little kitty existential crisis over that sound. You are so silly and cute. You are so silly and cute. Arr, arr, arr. Yo, baby monster. Yo, baby gremlin. Oh, you just tried to jump in my arms. I was not set up for you to be there. I'm sorry. I was sitting all awkward. Come here, you little big cutie. I love her so much. Oh, no, of course you don't want it. Okay. Oh, Peebs. Oh, Peebs. Alright, you can hang out and be a free little bird for a little bitty while we put these together. I think I'll set us up over here as long as this will stand. I want some music. Peebs, what do you want to jam to? Should still be hot. Can go either way. I want this up here. Oh, after I move those. Ah, I need the scissors too. Go Charlie, I'm sorry to snip. Going to lay cardboard over the slats for the folding gate things. She can fit through there, but I don't think she can climb it yet. So it'll work for a couple weeks. Then I can section off the room and make it kitten proof without actually having to truly kitten proof it. Then within that timeline, hopefully, not hopefully, be able to swap her and Void at some point. So she can go in the kitten safe room. Do we have Spotify connected on here? Such a little gremlin. Gremlin. I think I might log into it. Hi, peeps. Little jailbird. Little jailbird. Nobody puts baby in a corner. But baby, you're in a corner. I know, you're so big and tall and brave. You're so big and tall and brave. So big and tall and brave. It's a little gremlin. I'm assuming that's whatever was just playing in the stream room. Maybe. You never know. It's more like background music than an actual thing. Scissors. The good scissors. A template. This one. They'll need to be roughly that-ish size. I think this one is that size, yes. But it's skinnier. I think this one was Duke box sized. Oh, Phoebes, what is happening here? Oh my goodness. Yes. I think there's 2 more panels I have to put in this one, and then the other one I'd like to put them up on too. This one is the template. The official template. There's one. Those 2 make 1. Need 6 of them total. Exacto paper actually probably would have been a better idea, but scissors are already here. Use those 2 for the rest. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Very accurate measurements, obviously. About there. Get it, PB. Get it. You get that brush. Sure, at some point in the next couple of weeks, she'll be able to climb it. But until then, I think we'll be golden. Not going to look the most elegant, but I think it will be the most elegant solution to this point in time. I mean, is that enough? Two. The rest of these, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I think so. I'll make sure before I use the last template that actually is enough. It feels so redundant because they're already blockade gate things. But she can fit through them. Effectively unmute. Thank you. Her Dawn. Your girl is a little bit sicky tonight. but there be things to do. You gotta stand up there. Beautiful. Follow it stays out. And the middle and then the sides and then the top. Top is like the most questionable attachment, but we'll reevaluate as it goes if we need to. We just don't want her to be able to chew on it. Marvelous. Marvelous. Oh, I hate being sick. With steady hands. Steady work. God, I didn't find any life frame with that brush. That's so cute. I'm glad that's your new favorite toy. But you don't hate it at least. I don't know if it's hobby of me with attaching anyway, but participation falls. They're fun. One more. And this one's done, and there's just one more to do. Not bad. Not bad. Do need coffee. much tape is actually left on here? I feel like that's deceptive. No. Looking for you. Try to stick. We aren't there yet. We're ready. Too much. A pen. That worked. Decent. I do the middle before. I think I did the middle before the sides for the other one. Baby, you're going wild. This crazy noodle. Brush's best new toy. Best new toy. She can't stop. She won't stop, but then she'll pause. She's so adorable. Silly goose. Mm. I love you so much, Peebs. I'm glad you're here. Oh, that's the end of that. Now we learn. Did not know when it would end. Well, we know very clearly when it ends. It is done for. It is over. Get the signs. I think it still should close up perfectly. Let's put this on here. They're like refest. That has the same look and natural. This one is like, I don't know, filler wood, whereas this one is real wood. So they're just like different weights and quality, even though they're essentially the same thing. I don't know if they just made them different or accidentally bought two different things. Never bothered to look, and it's been years now. I can't remember where I got these. Probably Amazon, maybe Target, possibly Chewy. Probably Amazon. Beads. Decent. Now we are PV proof. Whatever we want to set this up. In here, then it keeps her from going under the TV stand and holders. All that crazy stuff the babies be doing. Just that one. Now this one, lady ma'am, I gotta borrow. I've got to borrow. It's okay. Hey, whoa, what's that big scary tall snake thing doing? The gate girlfriend. There we go. But I'll stay where it is. It's fine. It's fine, Miss Lady Ma'am. Mm. 4 more panels. That sticker just doesn't need to be on there. Well, it's slightly less recessed than the other one. I think it'll still be okay. Waste not, want not. I know, what are you doing, PB? Empty stuff and things. So curious now. Did it make that much of a difference? What is it? You about to go try to play escape artist? Oh, I know, you're gonna be snuzzly. And speaker girl. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? Hi. Oh. So silly. What you doing? Little bean. Little bean. Run. Run. Oh, you got me. You got me. Little pop-up kitty. She's so sweet and silly. Baby, we got 8 more weeks together before you go to your new mama. I'm excited. It's an honor and a privilege to give you that time. You also got to make sure your little virus clears up before you go to your new home. She also has an elderly kitty, so we don't want elderly kitty getting sick. Precious cargo. I hope this will work. I don't see why it wouldn't. Oh, that was just going to be a little wonky. It's for function, not aesthetics. That's okay. What you doing, Mama Bear? You about to escape artist? Hey, figure it out if you're gonna figure it out. About to escape artist behind me somewhere at some point. Just thinking about it anyway. No, we're over it. Forgot the brush existed. Best new free toy ever. Steven says, "Are you so big and brave?" Escape artist. She thinks she's getting away with something. Thieves. Tiny little gremlin. Come here, gremlin. It's Steven, girlfriend. I have a stalker. Where you going, baby girl? Where you going? You're going away. That doesn't make sense. Little Miss Mama. I don't think that's the way. Still gets a little bit easily startled. But it's so funny when she's being naughty because she's like, "Oh, I gotta run back. Gotta run back. Gonna get in trouble. Oh, chair. No, that was rude. Chair, you're not a good table." It's because I'm a chair. There we go. Okay, 3 more. And 8 are done. Welcome, Cyogenic. Welcome, welcome. Blue tape for accents. It's just the most easily removable tape. Painter's tape. We had it her way, it would be pink for the princess. But I know they make green painter's tape. Do they make pink painter's tape? I just realized they're saying Savannah in this song and not surrender. I'm assuming because the name of the song is Savannah, not surrender. I always thought he was just saying it with like a cute little accent. Apparently not. What are you doing, baby gremlin? I think this will work awesomely. It's like impossible to kitten proof things. Too much tech. Hi. 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 You gonna try it again? It's a song like the modern day Hey There Delilah. It came on the radio the other day. Forgot how cute that song is. It's so cheesy. It's so cute. It's one of the few songs I learned on the guitar. It's not hard though, thankfully. Oh, I bet it would be fun to relearn on the ukulele. Hi, Beebs. You coming around? Come on, stalker. Little naughty butt. Explore, kitty. Explorer. Oh no, box makes scary sound. Run away. back to home base. Swim away, swim away. It looked bubbly, but it's fine. Just happy tape. It looked bubbly. I know, you're ready to break out of jail, Tiny. You're ready. Soon. Gotta make sure you can't get into something that you're not supposed to in here. Like wrapped up in 1,000 cords. That would not be good. Wait, 2 more. Then we have an 8x, and she can't fit through the slats on here, and I can extend this by 3 more. There's the 2 downstairs and the 1 in the hallway. We're gonna try it again, peeps. But first, you get scaredy. Try it again. This one's so stringy. Alright, if I can't peel this off, you probably can't, but it was too far of an attempt. Happy Purrsday, everybody. We're cricketer than heck over here. I hope the week's been kind to everyone. Label it on the corner of the box. Keep hitting record highs for winter. Today was 80. Sounds beautiful. I think we got up to 16 degrees here today. They took Gigi in to get her cone off and her stitches out. And it was 16 degrees when I drove up to the vet's office then. "80 sounds beautiful." It's not even 80 in my house. Nice and warm. I can't wait until summer. Get the heck out of this dang house. I'm so fucking sick of being here. Ready to go. Too warm. Seems like a more secure way to do this. I should have done the top pieces first for the other ones. It's okay. We're almost done. Almost. Oh, we have excellent news too. One of my neighbors about 3 blocks kitty corner has Bear hiding out in their garage from this horrible winter. So Bear is safe. I've been so worried about him. Now we have a plan in action to TNR him from either my house or her place whenever my new True Catch trap gets here. I haven't ordered it yet. Because Chauncey's surgery deposit was twice what a surgery deposit usually is due to the nature of surgery. As soon as I can, I'll be ordering a new trap. I just don't trust my regular one and the one that has a string attached. I don't quite trust either. So you get for buying cheap traps. Manufacturing. One more. Un más. Then we have all of the baby barricades. I'm shedding like crazy. Floof. Cheers to you all. This one is stringy too. Teeth needs a haircut. I think my girl in the game probably died. I didn't open the game yesterday. I feel like the more wet a box gets, the more this tape gets fluffy. It's not even like real tape that Amazon uses. It's like adhesive sticky paper, which sounds like it would be tape. But it's like reinforced with string. It's so weird. Not that I mind. You don't need a pair of scissors to open it. You can just punch it open, which is cool. I appreciate that as someone who likes to function quickly in life. It's an interesting choice. Beautiful. She's in love with having brushes. Oh my goodness. You feel so privileged. Oh, Miss Peavy. You're such a silly little baby. So silly. So silly. I love it though. She puts a smile on my face. Oh, I don't want a little piece sticking out there. They do, but Amazon tape is like not real tape. Is more the point that I was making. It's the idea of tape. It's the concept of tape without actually being tape. I used to not be able to just poke my fingers through their boxes and open them. Now you can. It's the concept of tape. The idea of tape, not the reality of tape. Like vegan meat. It has the concept, the strategy, the flavor, the execution. But is it really meat? No. It's fake. It's the Beyond Burger of tape. Get it, peeps. Get it. Fuck it up. Fuck it up. Fuck it up. Duct tape like holds itself together. This I feel like is only held together by strings. Not this, but this. You can't do this if it's real tape. It's not real tape if you can do that. It's just a placeholder for the concept, the idea. Oh, that's not enough. I misjudged. More. We need more. Give me more. Give me more. Beautiful. Oh, we have the PB barricades up. Nice. Okay, then whenever she wants to zoom around the room. For the time being, excuse me, you can put these in front of everything. Decent. Decent. It's Schrodinger's tape. You don't know if it's actually real tape until you go to open it. It's garbage. Serena Dinger's tape. Not Schrodinger's. He's not taking credit for that one. It's mine. Hello, Stinky Bean. You're not in trouble. I think she forgets that I'm like, well, I'm not a tall person, but that like I'm bigger than I am when I sit. Hi. Crazy lady. Look at you. You can run around the room now. Not like now, but soon. She's on a mission. Peeves on a mission. She said, oh God. Oh God. Real world scary. See, that's what we gotta work on the most, is like she's very in her safe place. And she needs to be a little bit more curious about the world. My dad was so nice the other day. He like, I don't think I've been told like that he's proud of me or like good job or whatever since I graduated high school. And then of course the day after I graduated I brought Pippi home and then I got the cops called on me and like blah 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 blah, etc. So that lasted all of not even 24 hours on the phone. He's like, I'm so proud of you. You did a really good job socializing her. Like, oh, thank you. That's nice. Daisy's naturally a social butterfly, though. We don't need the tape to function anymore, though. These were just spare parts. Now they're officially recycled. Recycle. 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 Oh. It was nice to hear. Everyone's being really nice to me this week, and I don't understand it. It's kind of scaring me. I was in with PB Tuesday, too. My vet is like, you're doing a really good job with her. I appreciate the kind words, but it worries me when men go outside their usual niceness zone toward. It makes me feel like it's the end of the world. It was nice to hear, though. But like PB has the drive and determination to be the healthiest, hungriest girl that she can be. Oh, tiny little corner beef. And Daisy's just so naturally outgoing. I don't think I can take all the credit in the world for that. Stripes and Nibs are doing really good, though. Got a little update on them earlier. They're being snuggly and cuddly, and Stripes is even giving lap time, which I never got lap time from Stripes, unless I forced it. I think my dad was just being extra nice because I was talking about Chauncey, too. I didn't mean to, like... Not that I didn't mean to call him, but I wasn't calling him because I wasn't ready to, like, have a mental breakdown. But I also want to know how Daisy was doing, but something broke in my house, so I had to call him. Because I was out of brain cells and out of ability to deal and figure it out and think and just have a spare thought of how to fix. I called him like, I meant to call and ask about Daisy. I want to know how Daisy's doing, but I have no brain cells. I have a problem. I'm not asking you to come here, but just tell me what to do. And he talked about Daisy for like 20 minutes, which was wonderful. He loves how much her and Mushi are playing. He loves them running around the house. He hasn't had that in so long. Thinking back, the last time there were two babies running around, like young cats, was when I brought Munster home, and the year before, I had brought another kitten home, Kobe, who was mine, but my dad fell in love with him, so he ended up staying with my dad, which I loved Kobe. But Kobe loved my dad more anyway. His name was Cobain. Cobain. This handsome little boy. And my dad renamed him Kobe Boots. He's a great cat with white boots, kind of like PB has her boots. Kobe Boots. He was in love with my dad. But the last time there was babies running around was... When did I graduate? Like 2010 and 2011. So I graduated 2012. 16 years ago. So yeah, I guess he was due for babies running around. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. I feel like especially with my dad, compliments come with like a but. So kind of. Like you say something nice, but then like you're about to hear something really bad. But if I was about to hear something really bad, he held off on it, thankfully. I mean, I'm sure football is still on, but I don't think he's paying the most attention to it. If the Bears lost last weekend, or any of the weekends since Daisy has been there, I don't think he's been upset about it. Or as upset as he would have been. 'Cause kittens! Mushi's not a baby, but he's like a year and a half? Something like that. So he's definitely still young and wily. I'm gonna very bravely put the camera in with PB while I make a little bit more coffee. Then we'll swoop into some games for the night. Hi, Peebs. Are you gonna take over? You might knock over. Just don't knock it over on you. Was that not acceptable? I think it's acceptable. I tried there. No baby gremlin. That's my baby gremlin. That's my baby gremlin. I think that's the PlayStation clicky. They're not going to the superb owl? I would venture to guess not. I mean, it was shocking when they made it to the Super Bowl, what, in like 2008? Something like that. Didn't even know how they made it there then. My grandpa's so cute. He recorded the Bears in the Super Bowl when they were there. Hi. Whenever it was, I think it was 2008. So he was like, this is never going to happen again. This might not ever happen again in your lifetime. So he recorded it, and I have the Bears Super Bowl on a DVD. Hi, Beebs. You're so cute. It's like it's a lifetime event. PB, you are too cute. You are too cute. All you're doing is showing off your nub butt, girlfriend. You're silly. I scooch us over here. Hi. I'm gonna step in, and you're not gonna panic because I feel like I'm like an Attack on Titan creature crawling into her space. Hi. Oh, you're feeling so wily. You're feeling so wily and wild. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Attack that foot. Tack, 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 tack. Okay. Good girl. That was easy. She's like overstimulated right now. I think that's the longest she's been out of her pen without like me giving her 100% of my attention versus just being on the side. Little baby bean, I love you. I love you. I really do love her so much. And Voya, I love you. I love you. You're the Voya, you're the Boya. You're on my computer screen staring at me right now, which is unnerving. But I love you. You're wonderful. You're such a good boy. He's been doing good today. His chart says P, good. It had good P's today. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. I know it takes a few weeks to get the full effect, but I think the Buspirone is helping him. I don't know why you suddenly have developed, like, some kind of anxiety disorder. But that's fair, I guess. Feel what you feel, darling. Feel what you feel. You're so handsome. You're so handsome. Oh, thank you, Sea Doggy, for the gifted. It's very sweet of you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. You swap us back over. Foya says, put me in, coach. Plug, 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 plug. Where is game? Yes, I would like to run the thing. Thank you very much. What am I looking for? Oh, you're gonna be loud. I turned my volume way. Not way up, but back to normal, which is too loud for this game. Why there's not like a settings menu? I don't know. There probably is somewhere. I'm just not finding it. Open. Open sesame. Swoop. Skadoop. I know what this one, like, rogue bit of hair is doing today, but it's living its best life. Okay, reminder. I took my meds. We're done. We're good. Oh my god. My physical therapy thing reminds me every day. I have it set to remind me every day to do my exercises, and we're still a few days away from being able to do those things, and it's really starting to irritate me to swipe out of it instead of doing it. My knees have been hurting too. I want to get back on the grind. It's annoying. I hate doing that. I feel so fucking lazy. I'm so used to working out every day. That's the wrong phone charger for the wrong phone. Wrong. Wrong. Dang, we are top 7%. That's crazy. How? Does no one play this game? Maybe? Maybe? How aren't you charging? Charging that one, can you only do one at a time? Nuh-uh. Oh, maybe we just got caught on the case. Yeah. Well, dang, that's cool. I'm charged too. Okay. Mostly functional. I had to buy another, well, I didn't have to buy another alarm clock, but I got sick of unplugging and replugging my alarm clock back and forth. So I got another one from the one from Tank's room. I wanted another one like the one in my bedroom, but that one isn't on Amazon anymore. Sad. Sad. But this one is fine. It's loud enough. It's just awkward. It's an interesting one. In my experience, the more times you unplug and replug the newer ones that are like cheap and crappy, they eventually stop making sounds for the alarm. And that's something I need. I need the loud sound. I need it. Okay, I'll be right back. And then we'll see if we can be the most successful of all of the successors in all the game that ever was. Top 7%. Fancy. Foya, I would prefer that you don't walk on that at the moment. I have to uppy for a sec. And then we'll be back in here, but if we could not climb on the computer, that would be preferred. Boya. But I think he just likes climbing on the laptop because now it's not even like an attention thing. Well, I guess it kind of is, but sweets. Thank you. Good Lord. Bloop. I'll be right back. Hold on. Hold on. Special void delivery. Awkward. Cutie mark. Cutie mark. I wish I still had chalk from when I was grooming all the time to make him a little cutie mark. It'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting. Alright, settle in, Bean. Steam tracks achievements globally. It's always interesting to see how many people fall off playing some games. Is there a way to hide, like, your game progress and things in Steam? I like to keep that information to myself. AFK resources. Exciting. Uh-oh, she disappeared. Does that mean she dead? Oh. Whoop! That was brave. That was brave. Need to fiddle through the settings in Steam. Gonna hide it so not even friends can see it. Decent. Yeah, I just like enjoying things. I have nothing to brag about. All the stuff and things. Feats. Only time there's free feet. Some VIP. Some box. Expose human experiments? Oh, do we actually, like, learn how the apocalypse started? Perhaps. Perhaps. Okay, roly poly. There we go. There we go. What about fighting with an aircraft? What's that? Deaf Z virus adventure increased by 20 for one. Okay. I don't know how, but that's exciting. I suppose. Gotta catch 'em all. You're being such a cozy baby. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They sure made a good job hiding the little free bitty. Secret free. Oh wait, no. I just see go in the blinking red thing and I click it and I don't think. Is there in the corner? No. You're a fake box. You're just for show. Stranger danger. Uh-oh. Please don't make me have to be a murderer. Okay. Recruited. Oh, I mean, she's back in, so, like, she's all better, but I think she was back in before, too. What is she leveled up to?
I'll always be here for you, Amanda.
Comparatively?
I'll find the answer.
I was gonna say, why is everyone not, like, level 1, but JK. Special promo. Yay, participation points. Participation points. Some tomato sass. Do we make that ourselves? Gem mail. I don't have any gems in the mail. Sag. The time of rising. I thought I left something in build. Oh, wait, what's that? He's snoozing so hard right now. Bunch of wood. Whole healing the lady and giving her clothes would have made her legendary if you had finished it. Oh, now she's just running around half naked looking a fool. I knew I missed something. That's such a weird aspect, but such an interesting aspect. I get it. If I was more motivated, I'd be more motivated. It's annoying to not mark as read. I've read you. Be read. What was the survey? Questionnaire. For 500 gems. I mean, you put me at the top 7%, so like, yeah, you're pretty good. Your main goals. Doomsday last survivor so far. I don't know. What are our goals? I'm just casually playing without any specific goals. It's not wrong. Which of these event objectives motivates you? Boosting hero might. Increasing overall might. Upgrading headquarters. 7-day missions. Zeke doing some good stuff? I don't know. Being heroic. Being mighty. I don't know. Which of these following heroes left the deepest impression on you? I mean, who has the biggest boobs? Oh, but Puppy! Okay, so apparently Puppy wins over boobs. I've now learned today, definitively. Which types of mobile games? You mainly none. I don't play any. I mean, I play not mobile games. I play Sudoku. I play Solitaire. It's like just usually when I'm waiting for an appointment. Card games. That doesn't really count as a card game. Would that fall under like generally like casino games? I guess that's the closest. I do not have the habit of spending money on games. Like, barely any. I haven't even heard of any of these. Oh, I've seen commercials or ads, I think, for Mobile Strike. Obviously did not play. No doubt the Puppy would win over Bob's. I mean, I never considered that, like, one would ever be compared to the other, but today we learned. Puppy always wins. Good job, Zeke. Your reasons for spending on... I'd never spent on a mobile strategy game before. They have solitaire in the casino? That kind of makes me want to gamba. Okay, I'm like very confused. I'm afraid to touch anything gambling ever again, even just for funsies, if I don't even cash out on it. What is the new gambling law of you pay tax on what you bet and then you pay tax on what you win? I don't understand that. It makes me afraid to open stake with Voya and let him play his little fun games. I don't know what's going on with that. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to just try it and then find out. And I've overpaid my taxes a few times, like looking back, and not been refunded for it. So like I don't really want to give the IRS more fuck you money that they don't need. The rules are a bit more strict. You only get 3 passes through the deck. Oof. Yeah, I would not succeed then. Is it on a state-by-state basis or a federal basis? It's a new federal law. Like, there are state laws for it, but it's a federal. It's under the big, beautiful bill. Loss deductions are limited to 90% of winnings, creating phantom income, while the reporting threshold for WTG forms is unified at $2,000, covering slots, blah, 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 blah. You can only deduct 90... I didn't even know you can deduct any level losses. You can only deduct up to 90... Deduct! Not deduct. Deduct. Duck. Quack, quack. To 90% of your gambling losses against your winnings, which means you owe tax on the remaining 10% as phantom income. That's what I don't understand. Okay, you can, if I bet $100, I can deduct $90, but then I still have to pay tax on $10 plus tax on whatever winnings. Is that what that means? I don't get it. Even in Vegas, you don't have the interest. I only played a few slots to... Sir, he's eating. Send winnings tickets, not even cashed in, so I don't think they counted for anything. As like souvenirs and little gift bags that I put together. only spun it a few times off of like, I don't know, $5 or $10, whatever I was tipped for to do it, and then send the winnings ticket for that. Never cashed them in. I've never actually claimed any money from gambling because I've never gambled to the point of claiming earnings. I've given my friends money to gamble because they're better at it than I am, and then they collect it at the whatever thing counter, traded in, but I've never traded in a ticket for monies. A unified $2,000 reporting threshold. A single $2,000 threshold now triggers a form. But I would assume it's like other income where you have to claim it even if you don't get a, what's it called for it? I don't know though. I don't know. Sports betting included, that's fine. I don't sports bet. So stricter record keeping. I think just if I did anything and cashed it out, I would need to take records. But then if I'm only gambling like with rewards versus my own money, does that... I don't it got a whole lot more complicated this year. I don't understand it. Because I just click the free button every day and then stack up the rewards. Oh, okay. So win $10,000, lose $10,000. Under the new law, you'd only be able to deduct $9,000, 90% of $10,000, making $1,000 taxable income. So I guess that makes sense, but like it still scares me to touch on that. I don't feel strongly towards it either way, but it's really cute when Voya picks his own game and then he does good. But then, okay, so then it wouldn't, theoretically, maybe, I don't even know, wouldn't count for gambling with rewards points, or dollars, whatever it is, daily bonuses. But then whatever we won, it would have to be withdrawn from. It's too much to think about. It literally just, it only makes sense up to a certain point, and then it makes my brain itch, and I don't get it. What factors do you mainly consider? If it looks interesting. Is there like an aesthetic? I guess gameplay would... Oh, there. Aesthetic. Oh, you can choose up to 3. There we go. So your main sources of entertainment in daily life. I don't know. You journal. You cook. You do art stuff. We do outdoor stuff. Rub it in a little harder, why don't you, with fitness gym? Jeez. I'll go with that. Selfie-employed. Bless you. Thank you for your participation. So give gems. Giveth to moi. No, stranger danger. Where was it? I don't know. Doesn't matter anymore. I'm over it. I didn't know what that was up there. I guess. I don't even know how much of that we have. Probably fine. Do that one. Stars. I don't know, I guess? I don't know. That would probably be in our backpack for whatever the resource is.
We'll all die one day. Hang in there.
Level up them skills.
We'll all die today, if not tomorrow.
Here's wild tonight. It's wild.
Hang in there, kid.
Those are awful. And he looks like a wolfy or explodey dude. He'd be a wolfy dude.
We're all going to hell. All right. Cheers to present, partner.
And he looks like he likes exploding things. Strategy review. I would not have guessed that's what it was. Not what, rude? Well, you can just bank those up then, sir. Sir?
I'll always be here for you, Commander.
I was not here for you, though. Sorry. I abandoned you in the bathtub. Some boots. Because she only got her cute little boots. I think she got like a stocking. And some panties, too. And that was like it.
Dawn Town is where we started.
Je mourrai pas si facilement.
Him and her would be a cute couple.
Je mourrai pas si facilement. Pas avant de m'être vengé. Les humains sont capables de trahir n'importe quoi.
I don't know, he's 5,000 of that for just a little baby bit. He looks like he would be an infantryman. Playing matchmaker in the wasteland? Yes. I mean, it's the end of the world. Everyone deserves somebody, you know?
One day.
Knock off Captain Jack over here. I don't know what I want you to be. Oh, I didn't mean to... I did though, I guess. Double click it.
I've been rescued from the dark.
Banner is annoying.
Now it's my turn to
Don't
take the
care.
rest.
Why do we have a child in our arsenal?
Those scenes still haunt me in my dreams sometimes.
Oh, she's like traumatized too. Don't make me have to play protector here. It's too much pressure. It's too much.
Only the zombies listen when I sing.
I already did his, didn't I? She looks kind of douchey. I think I skipped around with hers. She looks kind of like the Last of Us girl.
Those scenes still haunt me in my dreams
Oh,
sometimes.
she does a little bit.
I won't be
I think it's
alone
her
anymore.
hairstyle and her face shape.
Treasure every loaf of bread and every bullet. They don't come easy.
Nothing. Nothing. Grandma.
Always look ahead, no matter how old you are.
Insufficient battle manuals. Ba 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 ba. It's gonna be lacking.
Hey! Don't touch that!
Mad Eye Moody.
If you end up alive, losing all you left.
Cheers to present, partner.
Oh no, I'm saving his. I wanted him to be a wolf. Might be her. I feel like her hair is very similar. I don't know what her name is. Ellie. It's like the exact same hairstyle. Her clothes the same?
Cheers.
Those scenes so
They like inverted the color scheme. Gray versus green. Looks very much like her.
sometimes.
She joined the new alliance. Random resource pack. Tomatoes. Search. Or level, I don't know what needs to be leveled up first right now. Join an alliance? No. Do I really have to? I don't want to. I am my own alliance. Don't you know? Oh, I guess selecting it would help. Desolate village. Attack. Is that like by a person? No, we're not alliancing. Home. Not happening. They were PlayStation exclusive? Really? They weren't released on anything else? I watched a friend of mine play a little bit of one of them, but I never considered that it wouldn't be from anything else. Whether I have to talk to them or not, I'm not doing it. I'm just not. There's plenty in this game that I can enjoy up until that point. Oh, it's important. Uh-oh. Go fetch. I am my own alliance. Sure, it'll only let me progress so far until, like, you have to. But until then, it's fine. It's fine. Search.
The remaining supply should hold out for a while.
He got her, I thought. Common Hero Badge L. Stranger danger.
I've been rescued from the darkness. Now it's my turn.
The remaining supply should
The
almost wiped this
skills.
area clean. We've almost
The skills.
the last bullet.
There's one more, I thought. No, it's just
Cheers. to
you
present,
and your
partner. It's gonna get burned.
you're not wolfiness. Pardon. The not wolf. stars. The stars at night are big and bright. Here in the zombie apocalypse. We obtained ruffians. Airdrops. Scoop. Scoop de whoop. It was a cute little short ride home. Groundhog Day is almost upon us. When is Groundhog Day? Sometime in February, I think. No, no, no. The 2nd. Oh my god. That's like in a couple of days. Jeez Louise. It's coming right up. Watch the movie day of. Aw, it's cute. It's a very cute little tradition. I've never paid much attention to it because it's always 6 more weeks of winter here in the Midwest. Always. I remember it being cute when I was in school, but that's about it. It's coming right up. Oh my god. It's gonna be February already. Due to current events, I think January Harley this year is gonna get scrubbed. Probably February's too. But what is Valentine's Day? I was gonna say, of course it'll be on a Wednesday. No! Galentine's Day, Tuesday the 13th. Assuming nothing else comes up. We'll try for a Harley cosplay around then. Oh, my voice is going out the window. It's gone. Scrubbed as in scrubs? No. There is, though. I feel like I could accomplish this with orange scrubs. I want to do her version of this. That's an excellently done cosplay. I feel like scrubs would be the least complicated thing to try to turn into that. It'd be very simple to edit. Cozy. I wanted to do that version of Harley since the movie came out. It's probably arguably one of the most simple. I don't know, I've stagulated on it. Yeah, it would be pretty easy. Home, yes I am home. Home is whenever I'm with you. Danger.
God. What's that monstrous thing?
Danger, Will Robinson. Squad. Major advantage. Cool. Get him. They're big sword swipes. Not such an elite executioner now, are you? Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, because the what's it is already running in the background. JK. Gotta remember to click that before eeps. We don't have any rogue stragglers in here, do we? No. Evenly matched. Uh-oh. Nerve-wracking. That means there's a good chance I'll lose. Don't hate the game, hate the player. Green and glowy. Oh, why didn't I pay attention to that being there? Serena? Oh god. They're everywhere. Drones help. Victory! Woo! We got a box. A gift from survivors. Keep your resources for yourself, bro. It's the end of the world. Not gonna run out anyway. Oh. Awkward Demogorgon thing. Awkward.
Sorry.
Go drones. Multiply, 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 multiply. Oh. So close. So close. I don't know what that thing is, but it's a face only a mother could love. He's an awkward fella. Kind of looks like a what is the name of a fly plant? A Venus flytrap. I couldn't think of anything other than a fly plant. But like the pink slime version of Venus flytrap. He's an interesting fella. He just woke up from a nap. It is not gonna happen. That was a valiant effort, though. It was an attempt. Get it! No. JK's. I'm not getting any of those today. Oh, I just realized there's a counter at the top over here. I keep wondering, how many are left? There's literally a counter. On District 93. Dang. It's pretty far. It's a lot of districts. It's a big world out here. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. I do kind of like the game board setup of this. I don't know why I like it, but I like it. can wait 6 seconds. I'm a patient creature. District 9 got nothing on this. I know. I feel like we just called it District 9. And District what? 93 now? Oh, need more steel. More steel. How much more steel? I didn't look. $309. Like double the amount of steel that we have. Well, that's a lot of steel. That steel is a steel. Oh, I can select which one? That's why I have so many tomatoes. Oopsies. That's funny. I'm baffled. Un más. Oh, some of them are random. And I wasn't foolish with all of them, just some of them. But that does explain why we have a fuck ton of tomatoes. I mean, it got us this far. It worked out good enough, but it's an interesting discovery. Like, it's a lot of tomatoes. It's a lot of tomatoes.
Partner. We're all going to hell.
It's funny. Oh my god, just be a wolf. Gosh dang it. Just be a wolf. More tomatoes. We upgraded a lot, I guess. I suppose. Awesome eyes, I suppose. It's never enough tomatoes. Never enough. What's his name? Thunder Peterson? He looks like an over-exaggerated and even more douchebaggy and slightly more rugged version of the dude in The Boys. Oh, JK. Oh, that was the other one. Wait. I thought I clicked that. Nope. No, he looks like if the dude from The Boys and Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Now, like, I see his face up close, that chin. That's what he looks like if they had a baby. I'm terrible at remembering names. If him. And him had a baby. They would make this guy. I forgot one. There we are. The boys just didn't capture my interest, unfortunately. Like, conceptually, it was nifty. But I just couldn't get into it. More superheroes to remember. More drama to the storyline that I need. For superheroes that I don't even know. They're strangers. Stranger danger. What was... oh. Wait. Yes? Yes. Okay, a couple more missions and then we're gonna hit the hay. Oh, some rare air drops. Are they raiding it at the same time? Is it like a battle for resources? Is that a prank? That was confusing. It's crossed over into Disney territory now. I blame his chin. It's not my fault. It's his chin.
We don't know where they come from. Oh my god. What's that monster thing?
Biochemical battle legendary. I don't know. March. I'd like to see if we're evenly matched or awkward. Whoa, big and tall. Elimination. Here is the cavalry. Important. I guess survivors are important. Stop telling me to join the alliance. It's not happening. I'm stubborn. Don't underestimate me. Intel, what? Oh. Thought it was like more little pieces of storyline.
Everything is in
We can fight zombies and we Commander, there's a horde of
A
zombies.
rare elimination.
Commander,
Oh, they just want me to keep playing forever.
Commander.
Major advantage. Get him. Go get him. Just straight up marching through someone's farm. Not joining particularly your alliance, Captain Hothead. You don't sound like someone I want to share space with. If I want to talk to Captain Hothead, I'll call my dad. Rare, commander, so demanding. So demander of your commander. Oh, it's 100% a gimmick. I would venture to guess there's some kind of deeper algorithm within like online games like this, especially that extend to mobile. Or that are strictly mobile, where like, okay, they realize that, oh, she's doing a lot of these, so let's give extra good ones of that versus balancing out for the betterment of society everywhere. Maybe they're not that sophisticated, but I feel like they probably are. But that's all you get from me for tonight. I'm both stubborn enough to have self-control and to not have self-control. Depending on my own dictation. We already explored this area, Commander. Well, I mean, am I allowed to commanderingly click it? Oh god, where's home? They took away my how many kilometers away? There. Thank god. I don't know how to get home. It's like when I park in a new parking garage. I am going to lose my car. 100%. Eh. I don't think there's anything else that needs maintenance other than mail before Eeps. Cool. No, I keep thinking that's something that it's not, but I do. New. Shiny and new. There, that's the one I keep missing and leaving. Just gonna be Wolfman. Not yet, sir. That's a lot, I feel like. I don't know. I'm not fully invested in that yet. That's a big number. Oh, that I keep thinking that's a building that's doing things. It's an event. It's still running? Oh. 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 I set it to run. Okay. I thought I just spent a bunch of things for a moment. I didn't queue that up before. Beautiful. Those were already bebopped through. Not exposed human experiments yet. One day. One day. So let's say not even the end of the world can put a stop to your luck. That's awfully optimistic. Aw, what a nice little awkwardly crowded camp. I mean, we got a big front yard. That's exciting. Hype. Hype. Alright, that is gonna be our night for tonight. I don't know what this volume level is gonna be. Turn it down here. Down, not up. Oh, I gotta turn that ba-ding setting off. It's a very annoying sound. Boop. Oh no, we're backwards. Swoop. Good, you get some good sleep tonight. The weekend is approaching. Gotta be prepared for all of the good things incoming. Trying to keep being on the mend. I won the COVID lottery finally. So that's exciting. was trying to get everything done yesterday. I'm like, why do I feel like shit? Why do I feel like shit? Why do I feel so fucking out of it and so fucking like shit? And plot twisted. That's no fun. So trying to stay super hydrated. Get a little bit of rest as possible. You can't not take care of the zoo. They are everything. They are marvelous and wonderful and amazing. If you guys want to keep up with me offline, hop into the Disky Boo. Otherwise, we got the fun stuff, the socials, some more fun stuff. Oh, that's not how you spell that. The sketch for when I will see you bebs next. And thank you all for being a part of the Stream the Dreams project. Hype, hype, hype. We yet to be a winner there unless you're asymptomatic. Same. Anytime I've suspected that I've had it, I haven't tested positive for it, but this time I did. Which, I mean, like, happy accident, I guess, because that's my last free COVID test. Whichever ones are given out by either the federal government or the state government that you could sign up for. And then my dad signed up for like a bajillion of them and then gave them to me. Like, not all of them, but like, how people go out and like buy water and bread in the 5 days of like snowpocalypse. My dad did that with the free COVID test. He claimed like every single one that he possibly could. It's a little embarrassing because like he can definitely afford to buy them. I used my last free one for it. I don't know. I understand the variants have like mutated, etc. I think I'm up to date on my boosters, but I don't think I got another booster since would have been October of 2023. Either September or October of 2023. Sometime around there. But it is what it is. Lots of tea. Lots of tea. It's not conducive for good appetite because I can't taste things. It was like the first thing I noticed. I'm like, what is happening? This is weird. It's not right. That taste buds ain't right, Bobby. Oh, thank you all for a wonderful night. Thank you for chilling like villains. Thank you for being your wonderful selves. Thank you for your time, your chats, your company, and your support. Thank you for your time most of all. It was very valuable. It was this finite thing that you cannot make many more of. You just get what you got in life to do whatever you want with. And you're able to spend it here. I appreciate it. It's very, very, very cool of you, as Gumbus would say. Do me one favor until you see Bubs next, and that is remember that you are wonderful, amazing, incredible, spectacular, fantastic, phenomenal, oh so gorgeous, and all the good things in the world. Take all those compliments and put them in your back pocket, in your executive chair, in your back pocket, in your side pocket, in your cute little hoodie pocket, in your adorable little shirt pocket. Wherever it needs to go. I'm getting to be a very sleepy girl at the moment. Wherever it needs to go until I see you next, you sweet bubbos. Have a beautiful and floofy and relaxing rest of your evening, and I shall see you bubs for the next one. Thank you for playing some games and putting together some PB barricades. Some pretty baby barricades. Pibba. You turned out very well. I'm glad. That idea came perfectly to fruition. We did good, Club Cult. Have a marvelous rest of your evening, and I shall see you bubs for the next one.